All right, welcome to another episode of Straight Talk. In this episode, I was forced to swap my places with Cameron Diggin. We're here in the Istanbul studios again of Property Turkey with him, as always. And today, we're going to talk about something rather interesting. All right, Cameron. For the past few months, really, I have been seeing a lot of Chinese clients in and out of the office.
Oh, yes.
We have been receiving a good, amount of inquiries from China, from Chinese buyers. And we know that Chinese buyers are basically the biggest overseas real estate buyers in the world, okay? I want to know, first of all, why is that? And again, how much of that pie, if you might call it that way, belongs to Turkey?
Okay. Well, firstly, indeed, Chinese real estate investors currently, statistically, are the biggest overseas investors. That means from any one country investing in real estate in other countries, Chinese people hold the biggest pie in the world currently. Canada, Australia, UK, and a few other countries, they tend to be leading the charts in Chinese buying overseas. Turkey is nowhere there as yet. Now, the first question, to address your first question, why do Chinese people, why do they seem to be so motivated to invest in overseas real estate
To
markets?
basically take that money out of China.
Well, two main reasons. One, Chinese government imposes rather heavy capital restrictions on Chinese people in terms of what they can and cannot do with their money, literally. And there are limitations as to how much they can invest overseas, how much they can buy this with, etc., etc. As you know, China is still a command economy, kind of communism. Okay, so they're not free to do whatever they want to do with their money. So that's a very important motivation for them. But the second thing, which in my opinion is lately as important as the first one, is what's happening in Chinese real estate market itself. Now, if you look at Chinese big cities in China, and there are quite a few of them like Beijing and others, property prices have increased by 10, 20, in some parts, 30 times.
Wow.
In other words, what a Chinese individual bought in, say, Beijing for $100,000 in year 2000 is now worth over $1 million.
Woo.
In fact, well over $1 million.
That's a serious increase.
And that is all across the board in China, in big cities, in industrialized big cities in particular. So what does that mean? That means there are many, many people, and considering the population is something like 1.5, 1.6 billion people, from what I read, there are at least 100 million people in China that are today sitting on positive equity, very high values of positive equity, thanks to the real estate prices. But there's a catch. Any moment now, and this is common thoughts of almost all Chinese clients we see, because we ask them, we talk to them. Any moment now, they're expecting a massive real estate crash in China, where prices will be shaved off not just 20, 30%, by significantly higher than that. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to get their money out of China before that happens and put it into certain real estate markets where positive growth is expected.
All right, I understand the reasons why the Chinese buyers are basically the biggest overseas investors when it comes to real estate. And we now know that Turkey is receiving a very little of that pie.
Very little.
So how can that pie, that share of the pie can increase? And also, what can Turkey offer for Chinese investors who are looking to take their money out of China?
Well, firstly, let's look at it this way. How well is Turkey known in China? As a country to visit and also as a country to invest in real estate? Very little. What we found is that the awareness of Chinese potential investors of Turkey as a country, as a real estate investment destination, is still on a scale of 1 to 10 is about 2. Is about 2 compared to, say, US, which would be probably an 8 or 9, or Canada, which again would rank as an 8 or 9. So compared to that, Turkey is relatively unknown.
It's basically nowhere.
it's relatively unknown for the
Okay.
Chinese potential buyers. And interestingly, the ones who do make it here, they love it here. They absolutely love it
Why?
here. Is it the culture? Is it the history? Is it the weather? Is it the food? I'm not too sure. I think it's a combination of all those.
Okay.
I think they find something unique, but also they find something of themselves too. That's interesting. If you look at the history of Turkey, history of Turkish people, let's say,
Okay.
it's not really surprising that they may find something of themselves.
Okay.
Because Turkey and Turkish people do have kind of Asiatic and that
Roots,
kind of
yeah.
roots background. So they do find something of themselves. But they also love the country, the geography. They love traveling in Turkey.
Yeah.
And they love spending time in Turkey. So that tends to be the common theme among Chinese people who come here either as tourists or who come here as expats with their companies.
All right, I
so
get
they
that.
tend to like it here. That's the lifestyle aspect.
Yeah, that's the lifestyle aspect. That's why actually.
Now, you want to ask the investment side of it.
I will if you let
What
me.
would Turkey
I will.
offer?
Okay. Now I understand.
The lifestyle aspect.
I understand the lifestyle aspect. The Chinese people, they love Turkey. Turkey is a very likable country, highly likable country.
Yes.
Anyone, whoever comes to Turkey, I don't really believe that there will be one person on earth which is not going to like the geography, the
Yes.
amazing beaches that we have, the topography, the culture and everything. But the question really here is the investment.
Yes.
Investment side. Do Chinese people or are Chinese people aware of the investment potential of Turkey, what Turkey can offer in terms of investment, real estate investment? And the ones that are aware, do they like it?
They're not fully aware. A lot more publicity, a lot more information giving needs to be done. That goes without saying.
Yeah.
And hopefully we shall have a few things to do in that regard, which I discussed
Hopefully.
with you about the
Yeah.
travel show in China, etc. I'm dying to get to that.
Yeah.
But that aside, in China, their rate of return, rental rate of return, is about 1.5% per annum.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? So the average you'd get in a city like Istanbul, let's say, is 5%.
Wow.
So you've got 5% here and you've got 1.5% there. So that already starts looking, Turkey already starts looking incredibly attractive
Yeah.
in terms of ROI,
Yeah.
rental yields to start with. Then the second thing, the price tag. $250,000, which is the citizenship by investment level, will buy you a decent 1 or 2 bedroom luxury apartment in prime locations of Istanbul,
Yeah.
in city center, in a very decent part of Istanbul. Now, compare that to comparable parts of Chinese cities, you couldn't buy anything.
Wow.
The same is probably 5-6 times as expensive in the big cities in China. So already there is a very low price tag for entry to the market for the Chinese investor.
Yeah.
And that low price tag, which in itself for the Chinese investors is quite a low price tag, also buys you the Turkish citizenship.
Yeah.
Now you could say, well, Cameron, Turkish passport does not necessarily rank at par with the British or the American or any EU passport. Correct. But the investment level is far less. The GDP growth rate of Turkey is far higher than any of those other countries,
Yeah.
which means that their projected capital growth, should they invest their money in Turkey, as opposed to in other markets that we talked about,
Yeah.
is significantly higher. Plus, they get the citizenship,
Yeah.
freehold, for life, for themselves and their children under the age of 18, with $250,000. Plus, there is a plus to that. Once they have obtained the Turkish citizenship, and don't forget, most Chinese investors are business people.
Yeah.
And they do have strong capital in their pocket, most of them. Once they have the Turkish citizenship, they can use the Turkish citizenship to access to UK, US, and a few other countries, Western economies, as on the businessman visa.
Yeah.
Turkey has that
and
agreement.
they can set up a business in the UK.
They can set
Turkish
up a business in the UK
citizenship.
and live in the UK
Yeah,
as
yeah.
a Turkish citizen,
Yeah.
provided they have the capital to do so.
Plus, one
So
thing
that's
I
a big
like
plus.
about
That's a big plus.
exactly, and one thing I
Yes.
like about citizenship by investment is basically it's a free process.
Absolutely,
That
because after
passport-
3 years,
yeah,
you can
can
actually
just
sell
sell
and
it,
get your money out.
make profit, and enjoy the Turkish passport in the
Yeah.
meantime.
Yeah.
I mean, Turkish
Yeah.
passport, obviously, you can't just compare it to the German or Irish or Finnish passport, but
In terms
again,
of the countries they can freely travel, but
100%.
yes,
Again, Turkish passport has its own kind of strong.
of course,
Points.
For the
I
Chinese,
like it. Yeah, yeah.
it gets them out. Well, kind of a deadlock that they
Yeah.
have in the Chinese economy,
Yeah.
with the very, very strong expectation
Okay.
of the real estate market collapse in China, which is awaited, and it gives them a kind of freedom to set up a new life and
Yeah.
new businesses
Yeah.
in other countries. So it's
Okay.
actually quite a strong motivation for the Chinese,
All right.
those who know it. So our job as real estate marketeers, if you like, is actually to take our case to the Chinese market and give them value add, to the point, and honest information.
All right, let's sum this up before I close the shop. On the investment side, not just for Chinese basically,
Yes.
but for everyone, Turkey definitely offers good rental returns,
Yes,
good capital appreciation projections.
yes,
Turkish passport for
Yes.
over $250,000 worth of investment.
yes.
Plus, it's a country with a good geography and good culture.
It's a lovely
And
place to
yeah,
live. It's a lovely place
It's
to
a
live,
lovely
yeah.
place to live in. All right, good episode. I think if you have any questions, especially this is actually a special episode for our Chinese clientele. If you have any questions about Turkey and Turkish real estate, please write in with the WhatsApp number we have. So we'll see you in the next one.
Excellent.